lovely Saturday evening. We are, of course, slightly later than our normal time of 7 o'clock. However, that is because yet again we had football. And oh my God, I know my team hasn't played yet. We don't play until Monday. However, I am very, very, very glad that Premier League football has returned. We've had some really good games. We've had some really good results. And of course, we are now going to talk about Fulham and Liverpool. And what might be another surprising result today, because while the Arsenal result earlier on was quite unexpected, it was a bit of a shock, I would also suggest the fact that Liverpool have gone and actually won a match is also shocking and surprising. Especially since we were doing our predictions, a lot of people, myself included, did have quite a bit of faith in Fulham. What I will say is, Fulham were absolutely not clinical today whatsoever. Had they been a bit more clinical, that might have been a more difficult match for Liverpool. However, Liverpool were also better. They were more clinical, they were moving faster, they were moving with intensity, which was really interesting to see because it's not something we've seen very often from Liverpool, certainly not recently. But first of all, before we get into the nitty gritty talking about everything, I want to say hello to you lovely lot. I do see the very lovely Mama Flossie has just joined us. Streets is here saying hello. Bonkers is in the house. Big up to Bonkers and well done on your win on this day that Arsenal lost. Congratulations to you. That makes you guys, does that make you guys fifth? You're above Chelsea now as well, is that right? Yes, Liverpool are now in fifth. Obviously, Chelsea have another game, but even if they win the game, that'll be 51. So they'll stay behind Liverpool now, even if they win, no matter what. So it keeps Liverpool in fifth, which is good for them. I'm just looking here. Yeah, so there's I was like 48 plus 3 is definitely 51. I was just making sure I can in fact add, because as we've seen, sometimes I get the numbers wrong. But how are we all feeling this evening? Our Dave boy, right? Our Dave boy was in the chat earlier and he says he's at the boxing tonight. He is off to see Mr. Fury potentially win a fight. And apparently the pint's there. It's £8.50 for a pint at the Spurs Stadium. Dave says he might end up sober tonight. He won't even join in with Sweet Caroline at this right now. I don't believe him. You let me know if you believe him. I don't believe Dave that he will not join in with Sweet Caroline. I think he would do that sober, let alone with a few drinks in him. £8.50 seems very expensive for a pint. Now we know where Spurs is getting all that money from. But guys, how are we feeling about the match? Did everyone even watch the match? Because it seems to be a theme lately where I talk about a match. I was like, I didn't even watch it, didn't see it. I'm totally relying on your eyes. So let me know, did you guys in fact actually watch the match? Or are you just here to talk to me? Did you just enjoy my company and that's why you're here? I mean, I'm open to either. I don't mind too much. And of course, on a Saturday evening, people will be out and about. So some people may be watching this on the catch-up. If you're watching it on the catch-up, do get your thoughts into the comment section down below. Make sure you say hi to everybody. Huge is back in the house. Big up to the very lovely Huge. Yes, Huge. Liverpool did look decent. They did look decent. Thank you. So I know at least one person in the chat has seen the match. Excellent, excellent work. But I have to say now, on a genuine note, I'm taking the mickey a little bit, but on a genuine note, I thought it was interesting to see Rio starting. That's not something that's happened a lot, despite the fact that he's very exciting, despite the fact that the fans seem to love him, despite the fact that when he's on the pitch, he's very exciting. He makes things happen. He moves forward. He's clearly talented. For some reason, unknown to me, potentially just his age, Slot has decided he doesn't want to start him very much. However, today he did start and Ekitike dropped to the bench. There were other changes, there were other subs and changes to the starting line, but for me those were the two that really stood out. Rio starting, which he hasn't been doing, and Ekitike, who has been underperforming considering the start to the season he had, was on the bench. thought both of those choices were very interesting, and probably the thing I found most interesting about them is there were choices I probably would have made, and normally they're not the kind of choices that Slot makes. Slot normally makes terrible decisions, so the fact that he made these decisions I found very interesting because it shows that he is capable of critical thinking. He is seeing what we're all seeing. Not doing it previously has in fact been a choice. Mama Flossie says that was a good goal, and it was. Rio's goal was absolutely fantastic. He had a great bit of skill, and like just in the lead up to the goal, like he basically made it himself. His skill was very, very good. And do you know what I think is good about him as well? A lot of the time when we see young players come into the Premier League, they're not physically strong. You can see that they're still boys, that they're still teenagers physically, and you know, it can be a bit of a mismatch sometimes. However, with Rio and Ngumoha, he's quite stout, you know, he's sturdy. You're not going to push him over just because he's young, and I do think that helps him, but he's very light on his feet for the fact that he's so sturdy, if that makes sense. Salah was also very good today. Streets is saying that. Salah was class, says Streets. I think that is the best Mohamed Salah has played, potentially all season, but certainly better than 90% of his games this season, in my opinion. That is probably one of the best we've seen him play. And I wonder... And that's why I kind of said, you know, in the title there, you know, it's a passing off the guard. It was Rio and Ngumoha, who's so young. He's the new, young, hot prospect. He's flying, he's doing really well. And obviously Mohamed Salah, who is ending his career, who's on his way out, who's had such a difficult season. To see the two of them today scoring, I thought it was quite nice. Obviously not as a United fan, because I just always want Liverpool to lose. But, you know, just from a human point of view, I thought it was really nice. You know, the new young gun and the guy that's kind of handing the baton over. It's quite nice to see. And it was very... I don't know the right word. The fact that both of them managed to score today, and there was actually a shot of them right near the end. The two of them was sat beside each other today after they were both subbed off. There was a shot of Salah and Rio sitting watching the game together, and it looked really surreal. Do you know what I mean? Like one just starting his career and one ending it. To watch them just watch out the game together, having scored the two goals, the only two goals of the match. I thought it was really interesting. It was quite sweet. Even as a United fan, just as a human, it was quite sweet. But Jenny has joined us, lovely Jenny, and of course our lovely Moonshine. Big up to you guys, and thank you for being here. I know normally when you've just, as a Liverpool fan, watched your team win a match, your go-to probably isn't normally a Manchester United fan. So I do appreciate the fact that you guys are here. Big up to you guys. Nice to see you in the house. And as I said to Bonkers, congratulations on your win. It's much easier to say when I feel that we're secure in the Champions League spots. Because I feel like we're doing okay at the minute. If we go and lose on Monday, I'm going to be raging the Jews have won. But as it stands, I'm going to assume that we're going to win against Leeds, and therefore, fair play to you lot, because it's not going to impact my team, I hope. But let me see what you guys are saying. Bonkers is saying we were better than what we were in the games before. Salah was decent today. Rio was man of the match. 100% Rio was man of the match, because not only was he like attacking, he was driving things, he was energetic, and do you know what it was? I felt like a lot of the other players were feeding off his energy, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that in a really positive way, in like, he brought a bit of life, he brought a bit of spark, he lit something in them, and I actually think potentially he lit something in Salah. If Salah played differently today than I have seen him the rest of the season, 100%. But we'll get stuck into that more because I see everybody's joining. Oh my God, moonshine. I missed the second half because my Sky was playing up. Do you know what I'll tell you, actually, to be fair? And this is completely genuine. I actually felt like about halfway through the second half, the game started to sort of die off. By the time the game was ending, it was ending. By the end of it, I was like, right, I was starting to like fiddle on my phone. I was starting to be like, right, is it time to do the stream? Could have just started the stream early because it was dying out, if you get what I mean. Fulham were very much trying. They just weren't clinical. They just never looked like getting the ball in the back of the... No, I'm probably being a bit unfair because Mamardashvili did have to make some saves, some decent saves. Callum Wilson gave it his best effort, but they just couldn't get the ball in the back of the net. Do you know when your team just has one of those days? Fulham just couldn't get the ball in the back of the net. For me, they never really looked like coming back into it. So I'll be quite honest, to be fair, moonshine, you saw all the good bits. You didn't miss a huge amount in the second half. But still, complain to Sky, that's not acceptable because they charge you an arm and a leg and probably half a kidney. So you want it to work. Let me see, what are you guys saying? JT's in the house. Welcome to JT. Big up, just dropping in to drop a like. I can't say much about the Liverpool game. Had it on, but couldn't care less to look at it. To be fair, JT, oh right, no, I'm going to read your next comment because that's what I was going to say. So JT followed that up with, I was fuming too much. And I was going to say that, to be fair, JT, that's why I'm okay about it. My team hasn't played yet. And obviously, as I said, United fan, I always want Liverpool to lose, but I will always do my best to try and at least be fair about what I've watched. However, if, for example, United had played Leeds earlier today and United had lost 2-1 to Leeds and then I watched this, you'd probably be getting a different match reaction and it'd be nothing to do with Liverpool, it would be my temper tantrum. Some of you may have noticed at lunchtime I was a little bit grumpy. That is because I got up early this morning on a Saturday and I had to go and do errands and I had to go and do jobs and I was cleaning out the old unit off the shop and I was just in the worst of humour. And I do think how you react to a match, or obviously how I am on a stream, is very much impacted by what has happened in the rest of your day. So I think we can all we can sympathise with you, JT. We might laugh a little bit as well, but it's not personal. I feel like you might laugh at us if we lost. If we lose on Monday, I'm expecting a little bit of stick. But yeah, I can understand why you might have been a bit too raging to watch a rival team go and win, especially when you didn't expect them to. It wasn't any consolation to you whatsoever. Moonshine is saying, seems like I didn't miss much in the second half. No, you did not. No, you didn't. I hope you had a nice cup of tea while it wasn't working. Let me see. The strong winds. Do you know what? It's super windy over here, so it is. The wind is crazy. It's all stormy. But I live on the coast, so it's always all stormy. So I never know when it's a real storm or whether it's just coastal winds, I think is what they like to call it. I think it's coastal winds, some fancy name like that. Jenny, yes, Jenny, correct. Jenny is saying, like the stream, everyone, and Jenny is correct and right, like the stream, everyone. She also agrees with my analysis, which is nice, because to be fair, you do. When you're looking at it as a rival, when you're looking at it from the outside in, sometimes you have like a different opinion. You feel a little bit skewed compared to like the fans of the club, because obviously you don't have the same emotions. So it is a little bit different. So I always find it interesting, kind of the different outlooks that you can have. Streets has finally given me, somebody has finally decided to give me an actual weather update that I can do something with. Thank you to Streets, who has advised me it's raining like crazy where he is. Well, not to gloat, Streets, but do you know what? That feels a little bit like karma for you all laughing at me the other day, because today here, let me do the weather check. It's not raining. It is very windy. At some point, it's definitely going to rain because it's quite dull, but it hasn't yet. Flossie, however, has come in to murder me and say, it's sunny here. It's sunny but windy here. Well, I'll tell you what, if I ever move to England, I'm going to Newcastle. I'm going to have to become a Geordie. No, I'm definitely not. But it does sound like the weather is much better there than everywhere else on the planet at the minute. Yes, Street says, we've had our sun, now it's time to suffer. But, guys, Let's go back to the match. Let's go back to the match. Let's rein ourselves in. I'm in much better form this evening. It's so funny. It's so funny because we were only talking yesterday about, I was saying I would hate people watching me doing my job, blah, 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 blah. And then everybody kindly pointed out that that's actually, in fact, my job now is for people to watch me. And I was like, yeah, but it's not the same. And then today when I had to get up early, do things I didn't want to do, and then I was in a bit of a rush. I hate being rushed. And I was a grumpy guts. But I'm better now. I've eaten, I've had tea, I've had coffee, I've had more tea, I'm going to have pizza for dinner. I'm really taking care of myself. So you guys get the best version of me. It's actually for you that I'm having pizza for my dinner. JT says, no worries with banter. It's just white noise to me. I'm just fuming at the club and our fans gaslighting. The worst thing is I expected this, but was still hoping to be proven wrong. JT, tell me more. Not about the white noise, that's fair. I kind of fizzle out rivals when I'm raging. Mama Flossie will be able to tell you about this. I'm the worst loser in the world. I'm not good at accepting banter when my team has lost. I get so angry. So I'm like you, JT. When I'm angry about my team losing and then other people try to pile on, I'm like, I literally do not care. Your opinion is entirely irrelevant to me. I'm too mad to care. Maybe when I've calmed down in a few days and then you banter me, it might bother me. But right now, I don't have the capacity to care more than I already currently care. I'm not going to read that comment out straight because I don't want to get into feuds with other people that I don't know. But I could see maybe that happening as a consumer of the channels that you're speaking of. I could see that happening. I do agree. But guys, Jenny, Aaron, well, you didn't see the second half. So Jenny, I'm relying just entirely on Jenny here. In the second half, I felt that Liverpool got a little bit sloppy. So the first half, I thought Liverpool were brilliant. I thought you were fast. I thought you were attacking. I thought you were progressive. I thought you were energetic. I thought you were all of the things that you haven't been recently. I thought you were performing well. I thought you were working as a team. I actually thought some of the defending was better, although that might have been in my head. And as I said, I felt like Rio Ngumoha starting the match. He lit something in the fans because I could hear the fans singing his name like loud. You could hear like Rio. You could hear it. So I thought he lit something in everybody. I think people were feeding off his energy. I thought it was a really good first half. Mamardashvili did have to make a couple of saves, and they were good saves, but for the most part, I thought Liverpool were very much on top, very much the better half, and were just really bright. And I thought actually Fulham, for the most part, they were trying to get their blocks in, they were doing their best to defend, but yous were doing overall really well. When we got to the second half, I felt like later there was a change. And like Jenny there is saying, I think we dropped off when Jones came on. I can't pinpoint when it happened. I couldn't say yes or no, so I'm not going to agree or disagree, but that's interesting. I did just feel like it changed. I felt like the energy dropped. And do you know you can feel that as a fan? You can feel when kind of the crowd starts to quieten down. You feel when the match is starting to wind down. You feel like when it's starting to get to the end. I just felt like the energy level dropped. I felt like the spark kind of came out. I think yous were at 2-0 and yous felt comfortable. And I think yous wanted to guard the 2-0. Yous weren't interested in number 3. If it came, fantastic. But yous weren't really interested in number 3. Yous were interested in keeping 2. Which, given the results yous have had recently, I'm not going to criticise. I think that's completely fair. And actually probably quite logical. But I did feel the fans, kind of the energy left them. The pitch, the energy left the pitch. And then, because the energy fell off, I felt like yous did start to become sloppy, and there was, yous were losing balls in the midfield. Yous were kind of starting to make loose passes that weren't making it all the way to their destination. There was a point where there was a loose pass in midfield and it actually could have turned into a goal for Fulham, but they just weren't clinical enough. And I'll be honest, I can't remember who the player was, so one of you guys might be able to tell me. But there was one specific pass. I can't remember who sent it in, but I think it was supposed to be for Szoboszlai, and it didn't make it to Szoboszlai. It got picked up by Fulham, and it just didn't make it. I felt like once the adrenaline wore off and the energy died down, yous became sloppy. Yous tried to, I believe, batten down the hatches and hold the lead. And in your attempt to batten down the hatches, you became complacent. And all of the things that you'd been doing well and doing right before kind of just fell off. And I was like, oh, this is the Liverpool we've been seeing. But to see both versions in the same match was actually incredible. It was really, again for me, and again because I don't have the emotion, it was actually quite interesting to watch it happen. Like in real time, you went from like fast, energetic, strong, like effective to just not. I did notice a big difference when Rio came off, but again I felt like he was your energy. I don't necessarily think that was the moment though. I think it had already started to happen before that. So let me see what you guys are saying instead of just rambling on and on and on, because obviously you just love the sound of my voice. And Moonshine is saying sloppy or slotty. It's all the same thing. I'm not going to argue with you about Arne Slot. We have had our experience at Manchester United of a Dutch manager. No, thank you very much. It is not something that I want to re-experience. Jenny says, I think we dropped off when Jones came on. Let me check. What minute did he come on? Because maybe that was the point. Let me check. I know I've read that out, but I read it out again because I wanted to check it and I needed to remind my brain. Let me see. So, Jones, right at the start of the second half, the 46th minute. To be fair, it was probably somewhere from that I really noticed it. It was probably somewhere between the subs. So, Jones, am I right there? Yeah, Jones came on in the 46th minute. And then your next set of subs were in the 68th, 69th minute. So that's when Ngumoha and Wirtz and Frimpong and everybody come off. I would say probably somewhere in the middle of that. So you're probably right, Jenny. Probably around 50-55 minutes was where I kind of started to notice it, which means it was probably creeping in just before that, before it became really obvious. So you could be absolutely bang on that. Gravenberch is, and there you go. There you go. So, Moonshine is saying no Gravenberch might be a factor. Why we played better today. So Jenny's saying it all started to go wrong when he goes off the pitch, and Aaron's saying actually maybe that's why we're better. I love it. That's made me laugh. Let me see. Streets is saying, not a fan of Jones myself, but yeah, he does bring that control in games for you guys. Moonshine says, I like Gravenberch, but he's a bit one-dimensional. JT has come back to me. Thank you, JT, because I am genuinely interested. I can't stand both the negative and positive fans gaslighting themselves to feel better, and the conversation isn't trying to solve anything, just validate their feelings. Yeah, because you could say that about any fan base. So yeah, I would agree with that. Moonshine is saying Szoboszlai and Jones in the midfield is more fluid than when it has Gravenberch. Streets is saying that what JT said is very accurate. You've always got to have objective balance under the stress. Moonshine is saying slot makes us worse in the second half of games, and to be fair, Streets just before that had said that's the story of the season. So that does seem to be the story of your season. Yous do well, and then the second half yous just absolutely completely fall off. Story of your season. JT says Arteta is lying his ass off, which fair if he doesn't want to overshare to the media, but if you don't connect with the fans off field, don't go begging for their support when your players can't be asked. Fair. I have to say, I don't often listen to the post-match comments from managers when there's new matches coming on soon, because I go to the toilet, I get a snack, I make a new cup of tea, get my notebook ready and get set up. So I don't normally listen. If there's a match and then no match after it, I'm more prone to listen to the after-match comments. When there's another match coming up, I do tend to miss them. Also, I find it depends on the manager. Some of them are more interesting to listen to than others. Luke is in the house, but like Dave is lurking watching the boxing. I actually got Paddy Power sent me a free bet for the boxing, and I put that I don't think the fight will go the distance. So let me just keep myself up to date there. But anybody who is watching the boxing, do enjoy it, guys. I enjoy the boxing. I prefer the MMA, but I do enjoy the boxing. More so now I watch just the bigger fights, but I love the MMA. I really, really enjoy the MMA. Flossie. Mama Flossie says, it's always good footy chat in here, and she is correct and right. And you know what? The reason I actually think it's enjoyable is because for the most part we're pretty chilled, we're pretty relaxed. You know you're not going to get attacked and have to defend for your life in here. It's more just a bit of a chat than rage bait and trying not to lose your mind. Sam is in the house. Big up to Sam. Hey Lou and Legends, been on me halls, back now for the weekend and the football. Welcome back, Sam. I was actually wondering where you are. How have you been and where were you on holidays to? Because now we're all jealous and nosy. Everybody welcoming Sam back into the fold. Lovely to have you back, dear. And Sam says, Fulham surprised me a bit, expected more, but Liverpool were better than against PSG. I agree with that in its entirety. Fulham surprised me. They underwhelmed me. They weren't as clinical as they have been. And Liverpool were better than they were against PSG. And I think it's another time where we can say it's not one team was really terrible or one team was super duper good. It was a combination of Fulham not being as good as they have been and Liverpool being better than they have been. One level went down, one level went up, and they met somewhere in the middle. And I think that happens more times than not. I think it's rarely one team blows the other team away. So for example, with Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich blew them away. But most of the time, I think it's a case of one team is terrible and one team is ups their levels. It's a combination. Oh, Luke, your brother is obsessed with MMA. I love it. I really enjoy it. Streets is saying, this is a prime safe space for football talk. That it is. JT says, is there a big boxing fight today? I'm the same as Lou. I'm more inclined to MMA. I used to do thigh box. Oh, which feels closer to it. Yeah, probably would do, to be fair. Fury is fighting today. Yes, Luke has answered. Fury is fighting on Netflix. Sam says, I was in Cornwall. Lovely. And you had good weather. Of course you had good weather. Everybody had good weather except me. But he did manage to sneak off and see the Champions League in the pub. Big up to Sam, and I'm glad you enjoyed your wee break. Yes, no rage bait, no screaming and shouting, just good, honest opinions and banter, and actual banter, not I'm going to say something horrible and then when you tell me that it's horrible I'm going to pretend it was banter and a big joke. No, just actual banter, like fun banter. To be fair, Sam, I would fully endorse that. I would entirely endorse what you've just said, not in here, but yes, on that channel with that person, I would fully endorse it because I think the man is a professional rage baiter. JT says, yes, Yuri Prohashka. I love Yuri Prohashka. I actually really like him as a fighter. I really like him as a personality. I enjoy watching his fights. I think he's an exciting fighter. I'm sorry guys, this is a football match reaction. I promise it's a football match reaction. But I really, really, really like Yuri Prohashka. I really do. I think he's a great fighter. I think he's an exciting fighter. I like how he moves. Yeah. So JT is saying tonight is a big UFC night. My almost fellow countryman I met in his gym before he blew up. Dude is a joy to watch. He is an absolute joy to watch. You're 100% correct. Sam says, I couldn't help it, but I got bored and left. Do you know what it is? It's a channel I don't go on anymore. And that's just where I'm at with it. I don't personally enjoy it anymore. And so I just stop watching it. Because I think sometimes you know yourself when you watch stuff like that. And sometimes you can't help it. But sometimes you actually just end up annoying yourself. So I just stay away from it if I'm totally honest with you. I miss a lot of the people in the chat. Good people in the chat there. But the shows themselves, not so much. It more became a social event than anything. Sometimes I would watch it on mute. But don't tell anyone. But yeah, look, what do we think overall, guys? Do you know what I want to do? Because we have a lot of the regulars in the chat this evening. So I want to ask you all a question. And what I'll do is I'll do it as a poll. Because obviously, for the most part now, I'm pretty regular, 12 o'clock in the afternoon every day, and then 7 o'clock in the evening. And obviously then when we have Kai on, we do 7:30. But Saturdays and Sundays are quite different because you've got the football. Sunday you can sort of work around it because the times where the matches fall. So you can still sort of do it as per usual. Saturdays are odd because you've got football, you don't have football. Sometimes the matches are better than others. Sometimes the early matches draw. Sometimes it's a good team. And so for me on a Saturday, it's actually really hard to sort of schedule the streams in a way that's good for everybody. So what I'm going to do is a poll. Today I did a reaction to the Arsenal game earlier on after the Arsenal match, obviously. And then obviously we're doing a reaction this evening for the Liverpool match. What I want to know is, are you happy to have the separate reactions? Or would you prefer on a Saturday I just do kind of one mega reaction in the evening time rather than separating them all out? What is better for you guys? So I'm going to do it as a poll because obviously it's different for everybody and it probably does depend on the specific matches. But I want to try and work around you guys because obviously the point of me doing this is so you guys can see it and interact and have a chat. And I don't want to kind of miss anybody when I'm doing them and everybody has their own routine. So let me just type out the poll. Okie dokie. I've typed that out. I've explained it to you because my typing's not good. So I've just put Saturday schedule, individual match reactions, or one big one at the end of the day. And Guess is very kindly saying, I want you to do what's best for you though. Well, to be fair, it doesn't really matter for me because I'm watching all the matches anyway, so it doesn't really matter for me. If I've got plans or something I need to do, then I can sort of change it up. Do you know what I mean? But obviously, it's more fun for you guys in the chat when there's more people here to chat too, because obviously I enjoy the streams, I enjoy talking about football, but I also understand from the point of view of the viewer, it's interesting when you have kind of different people to interact with as well, which is nice. So I don't really mind either way. What I don't want to be doing is boring people to death. So that's all it is, because I could talk and talk. I could do a 24-hour live stream by myself, no problems whatsoever. We would probably go down a few rabbit holes, but I can talk. I could talk till the cows come home, makes no difference to me. So I really don't mind. But for me, the big thing is it's I want it to be good for you guys, because I know that while obviously I'm now doing this, I'm now a YouTuber, which is crazy, but I'm also a viewer. I also watch a lot of the different channels. I also watch a lot of the different formats. I watch a lot of these things. So what I never want to do is get away from kind of listening to you guys, because I think sometimes when channels grow, obviously you can't listen to everyone, but it's very easy to lose sight of what was working, and what works is kind of listening to you guys. So it's really important to me that I will always keep asking for like your feedback on things, especially if I don't mind. If I have a preference, I'll do what I think, but if I don't really have a preference, then I am more than happy to do what you guys want. Yes, Sam is talking about Kai Bear. Sam is saying, I like reaction streams, but sometimes I can react emotionally, and once I've calmed down a bit, I can be more reflective. What I will say is sometimes I think my reactions are better when I've had a little bit of time, because I might say all this stuff today, and then by tomorrow or Monday, I'll watch back the highlights, I'll watch a few different things, stuff that I've thought, and then I'll look back over it and I still think that? So sometimes I can sort of change my mind through the day and through the few days afterwards as well. So I understand that completely. Hugh just saying, I think it's what you want to do in any given weekend. If you want to do one big one on a Saturday because of the amount of games, that is fine. Yous are all so cute. Yous are very kind. Sam, either way, Streets is saying, one big one for the energy reservation. Do it all in the evening and have a... Do you know what? I'm a real night owl. I am really a night owl. JT is saying, I think the big one is better. It's also easier for you to jump back and forth within one stream than having to endure angry fans like me that miss their team's reaction, which takes away from the topic. To be fair, JT, and that's the thing, I don't really mind. It doesn't annoy me because I understand not everyone's available all the time, but I do think that's a good point. You can kind of jump back and forth between the topics as well. So that's a really good point. JT is saying 10k subs goal 24-hour stream. See, if I thought I would get 10k subs, I would 100% do a 24-hour stream. Wouldn't bother me. Literally, I could stream for 24 hours. No problems whatsoever. At all. Wouldn't bother me. Like, you might see me nap in the middle of it, although I could probably stay awake for 24 hours. Would be in all the rabbit holes then. Would have several Mad Hatter tea parties. I probably would need a hat after that, but I think I could do it. And Flossie is saying that she thinks one big one would be better as well. Now, that seems to be kind of the majority, to be fair. So we do have a bit of a mix. We have 29% are saying the individual ones. 71% are saying one big one at the end of the day. So what I think I'll do is, we've only got 6 matches left for the rest of the season. So what I'll probably do is maybe for the next 3 game weeks, I'll do it kind of one big one at the end. And then if that's working for people, we'll continue with it. If we're finding it's not working for people, we'll relook at it then. But that's brilliant. So thank you guys for getting really involved in that. As I said, I want to make sure it works for you guys as well, because you guys spend so much time here with me. I want to make sure I'm taking what you say into account. As you know, I've appeared on multiple channels. I chat on multiple channels. I'm a moderator on multiple channels, and I've seen what it looks like when the person running the channel stops listening to the people that are doing it. So JT says, Shem is here. Shem is here, says, hello lovely boss lady Lou, late again, hope you're well today. That's all right, Shem, we forgive you. You're struggling at the moment with your team. We understand you might need some extra time. JT says, it's more time consuming and kind of the basic fan YouTube recipe, but it seems to work. A quick video with reaction if it's worth it to give your thoughts, and then a stream to end the day is what I would do, and Sam likes that idea. Okay, I could do that. So kind of like the hot take reaction essentially right after the match, and then end of day kind of do a bigger one, whatever the last match is. Yeah, we can definitely do that. So let me write this down, because believe it or not, I'll end the stream and I'll be like, what was that really good idea JT had? I'll have to go to the comments and be like, JT, are you in here? What was your idea? So we will do I'm going to call them fast fan reaction. Fast fan reaction. And just, I love it's called alliteration when the words start with the same letter, isn't it? That's alliteration. I like that. It makes me happy. You've probably noticed that in my titles. I do try and find the words that start with the same letters. I do see Z is in the house. Lovely Z is in the house. Do you think United are better than Liverpool? And Z has said, I think we are. At this moment in time, yes. Ask me again on Monday, I might give you a different answer. But at this moment right now, the second, yes. So fast fan reaction. There you go. There's a fast fan reaction for you. Fast fan reaction and late live. Okay, so that's what we'll do. Fast fan reaction for individual matches, a few minutes each, and then late lives for the full reactions. I like that. JT says, you never know, slap the sub goal on the screen through StreamYard or whatever you do. People react quite well to it in the standard streamer space. What I might do, because I have that, I do actually have that function to set them wee goals now. We'll see. To be fair, we're growing fantastically. I actually looked at my my analytics earlier. We have got 100 new teacups in the last 28 days. 100 teacups in 28 days. That's fantastical, and you're all amazing. JT said, oh yeah, I've read that. Huge says, add emergency streams when something big happens like Arsenal bottling games. Is that really an emergency anymore? Sorry, JT, but is that really an emergency? I thought you were going to say when something happens at United, and then I was like, nothing happens at United because we're not bloody playing. There might be some emergency streams next season, but at the minute we're not doing enough to have an emergency stream. I feel like I would be tempting fate if I started doing it about other clubs. I do. But I am always open to ideas, guys. If you go to the community tab, I put a post up ages ago. If you've ever got any ideas of things you'd like to see that I'm not doing, that you think would be good, that you would enjoy, that you would, be interested in, get into the community tab. The post is there. Whack your comments in, because I do read it. Let me see. Yeah, Sam is saying, think we will need a bit of luck tomorrow. I think you're going to need more than a bit of luck tomorrow, Sam. I think Chelsea are in a bit of trouble tomorrow. Sam said he's not optimistic. I'm also not optimistic. Do you know what you need to do? And again, I don't know if this is a tradition in any other country in the world, but here, when you need something, when it's quite important, when you need a lot of luck, you ask your granny to light a candle. And if your granny's passed away, ask somebody else's granny. Light some candles. Say a prayer. What else is good luck? Pick a 4-leaf clover. 4-leaf shamrock. There's loads of things you can do for luck. Don't walk under any ladders. Wear your lucky underwear. And hope that the people at Manchester City can't do maths and don't realise how important tomorrow's game is. Then maybe you'll do well. But guys, I did also watch, I watched the Brentford and Everton game. Now, I'll not go through it in detail because everybody may not be interested in it. I really enjoyed it. But one of the things I wanted to mention that I thought was really, really good. So they ended 2-2, which I predicted. It's the only prediction I've got right so far this weekend is 2-2 for Brentford Everton. So I'm quite pleased with myself. But also, Thiago is now on 21 goals. Thiago is now 1 goal behind Erling Haaland for the Golden Boot. That's incredible. I would say probably at the midway point of the season, maybe slightly after that, there was 6 or 7 goals between them. So Erling Haaland has definitely fallen off a cliff in terms of scoring goals. And Igor Thiago is like banging them in. So now that we probably have to be sad about Wolves because they've thrown it away yesterday, Igor Thiago to get the Golden Boot over Erling Haaland would make me feel a bit better. And Streets is saying that is just flabbergasting. It is, but the commentator said it. You don't even have to rely on my maths for this one. You don't even have to rely on me for this one. The commentator said it in the match. Igor Thiago is on 21 goals. He is 1 goal behind Erling Haaland for the Golden Boot. The TV told me. And I don't think they're allowed to lie. That's incredible. Now, I did, if anybody who was here right from the very beginning will remember, I did a video way back before Christmas when I very first was starting the channel. Do you know the ones, the player watch videos I do? So I did like the one on Jack Grealish, and I did the one on Phil Foden. I did one ages ago on Igor Thiago because he wasn't a signing. People were talking about me in the signing of the summer, but he didn't come in this summer. He was actually with them the previous season, but he got a really bad injury in the pre-season and didn't really get to do anything for them. And so this season, he's obviously recovered from the injury and is really like showing what he's made of, which I think is just incredible. But to come back from an injury that kept you out basically for a season, and to then be 1 goal off Erling Haaland for the Golden Boot, I think is absolutely sensational. Absolutely sensational. And I don't think there's enough people talking about him, but I can't remember what I said in that video. I think I was quite complimentary, but I don't remember. But for anyone who didn't see it, do feel free to go back and check it out. It's in the Player Watch playlist on the channel, just if you're interested, because I would have went through his stats and his information that was accurate at the time, so you'll be able to kind of contrast the difference with it now. And I don't think it was a super long one. But yeah, really, really interesting. So Flossie is saying, I'm a granny, although I never get called that. I imagine you have some cool name. Have you got a cool name that your grandkids call you? I always had it where my mum's mum was called Granny and my dad's mum was called Nanny, and you couldn't say it the wrong way around, or I wouldn't know what person you were talking about. You had to use the correct name for the correct one. But I bet you have a cool name. I bet you have a cool name, Flossie. Guess is saying, I want 100 more teacups. So do I. We want all the teacups. We want all the teacups on the internet at our tea party. Yes, that was brutal huge. I did see it. But in respect of our poor Shem, I'm not going to read it out loud, but I can see it. JT said, I said it earlier, if Arsenal win, City lose. If we lose, City wins. But big up to Sam. Good to see Chelsea fans that actually want their team to win. Guys, I saw that video where it had like a compilation of Chelsea fans being asked, would you lose in your battle to get into the top 5 in Champions League spots if it meant that Arsenal didn't win the league and finish second? And several of them said yes. I found that to be incredible. While I won't say, oh, they're not real fans or etc., that's not my way. I found it incredible, and I found it very difficult to understand the thought process. And as you guys know, even if I disagree with you, I'll always try and understand where you're coming from, even if I disagree with it. I can't understand being okay with your club missing out on Champions League to the detriment of another team. If you were 10th and it didn't matter, I'd sort of get it. If it just didn't impact you, I could sort of understand. I personally, again, wouldn't agree with it, but I would understand it more. Whereas this, I don't get. It's crazy times that we're living in. Sam says, I don't get that. Some Chelsea fans don't want us to win. I wonder if this seed in the league position, we aren't getting Champions League at this rate. I find, and I'm probably being very judgmental here, it seems to be younger fans, and I wonder if it is because of the rage bait generation, because of the everything's banter generation, because of the heightened things that come with it, that has become more important than the love of your team. And I don't think it's specific to Chelsea fans. I think at the minute we're getting a really specific example with Chelsea fans. But I don't think they're the only fan base experiencing this. I think this is the effect of social media and rage bait and what's a word for like too much banter? Like overkill on the banter meter. Do you know? JT is saying, at this point it looks like we are bottling it either way and you need Champions League to keep the club growing and signing good players. Huge is saying, I would love Thiago to win the Golden Boot. Me too. JT with a good question. I've scrolled, lads. I found the question and then I scrolled. My biggest mistake is scrolling. JT says, is it harder for Thiago to score or is it harder for Haaland? My instinct is to say Thiago, but Brentford have been fantastic this season. They're exceeding everybody's expectations. Very interesting. Interesting question from JT. Let us know what you think on that. I think they're hard in different ways. I think what he's achieving is incredible when you look at the backdrop. Thiago, that is. When you look at the injury, when you look at... He's been at this club for a season already, but this is his actual first season playing, if you get me. I do think that's a big thing. Street says it's Haaland for sure. Tell us more, Streets. Tell us more. Because I can't tell if that's sarcasm or if you've got a reason there, a logical reason behind that. Flossie is saying, heard on the radio earlier that in the last 5 years, Arsenal have only ever won one game in April. Do you know what that is, Flossie? I can explain that. It's my birthday in April. And my birthday gift every year is that Arsenal are not allowed to win games in my birth month. It's actually me. That's actually a crazy stat, Flossie. Thank you for sharing that because I had no idea about that. In the last 5 years, Arsenal have only ever won one game in April. There has to be a study done. And I'm not being funny. There has to be a study done on that. That is incredible. That should be studied because that's a mentality thing. That is like a psychological thing. That is so interesting. And I'm not even taking the mickey out of Arsenal. I find that genuinely psychologically interesting. One match won in April. You guys say things and sometimes they grab me and I'm like, I need to know more about that because I find it so interesting. Oh no, Streets is for sure. He says tougher for Haaland. Okay, I'm scrolling down, so I'll get to your reasoning in a wee second. Sam is saying, I'm interested to see our summer window. Are we going to sign anyone over 23? Well, Sam, the owners and the board of my club have decided to adopt your guys' approach because apparently Sir Jim is obsessed with you guys. So I'm also interested to see what you do because whatever you do, we apparently are going to copy you. So if you could please sign some experienced players, that would make me feel better because then maybe we will sign some experienced players. Other than that, you know, I don't really mind what you do, but it's just that we seem to be copying you, which I'm not enjoying. Momar, am I saying that right? Is it Momar? Momar sounds closer. That's quite cute. Sam is saying, I think Haaland is missing De Bruyne and Silva playing deeper. I think he is too. I mean, it would be hard not to miss De Bruyne in fairness. Oh, Guess is saying, so in Sweden, we have different names for grandparents depending if they're on your mom or dad's side. It's perfect and I love it. Well, I created that system. It's not a real system here. I just made it for myself because it was easier. Shev is saying, more teacups. And I think Shev is correct. Streets is also saying Kevin De Bruyne is greatly missed. So everybody's agreeing with that. JT says, apparently you might change the approach. Yeah, they come out and started saying that. Once Cucurella's comments come out and Enzo Fernandez comments come out and all the comments started to come out from the players, it was hit the rumour mill that actually they are going to change their approach and nobody panic. So I'll be interested to see if that's real or if it's PR. But JT says, funny thing is, if you actually start to do more balanced transfer, you could really overtake all of the clubs at the top right now. Let's hope they don't do that then, obviously. Yes, Sam, we're all 18 again. Don't you worry. JT says, yeah, that makes sense. People care about dunking on people more than winning it. That one guy literally said he celebrated us losing the Carabao final as if they won the Champions League. That's crazy. The thing is, and again, I'm not being smart, although, yeah, he would have. I was going to say, has he seen Chelsea win the Champions League? But he would have. I was like, it's hard if you've never, it's easy to say that in theory if you've never experienced it. But no, I was trying to give him an excuse he doesn't have. So there's no excuse. It was just crazy. Crazy. JT says, I think I agree with Streets. Haaland's job is harder, but he also should be better equipped around him to handle the adversity. Streets is saying, okay, I understand. So Streets is saying it's harder for Haaland because against Brentford, teams will be more likely to play more open, which will give Thiago more opportunity. Obviously, Haaland doesn't have that opportunity. I can understand that. Sam says it's difficult for both. Thiago has no pressure but in form players. Haaland has pressure and players around him are not in form. Fair. 100% fair. JT says, I'm born in April as well. That means God must hate me then. Oh dear, JT, apologies. Oh, my reasoning just backfired there. Sorry, JT. I'm sure that's not true. What else are you guys saying? This is a great conversation, guys. I'm really, really enjoying the show. I'm really enjoying the show. So thank you guys so much. I really am enjoying it. Shem is saying, I love how Frank leaving Brentford came to Spurs, brought a whole bunch of coaches with him. Now Brentford are way better and we are worse before firing him. What does that say about Frank? He's overrated. I mean, there's a lot of logic in there. So Brentford have improved since Frank left. And now Spurs got worse when Frank was there. He's seeing a connection and I'm seeing it with him. Sam is saying, oh, your son's the 13th of April. And he's 13 this year. 13 on the 13th. I like that. Hugh just saying he saw that, but about Chelsea, but okay, about the Arsenal thing. I'm going to look at it. Huge is a fantastic fact checker. Huge, you check it because we can't rely on my counting anymore. I cannot believe I read 13 as 31. I just read it backwards. I've never done that before in my life, but I was trying to do things fast and I hate rushing and I literally read the number backwards. So yeah, maybe we should let Huge fact check that because I might get it wrong. JT says, it feels like Brentford are kind of exploiting a cheat code, as you said, with the long balls, because Streets has said that Brentford use the long ball tactic a lot because teams play a higher line against them. The guys are putting the puzzle pieces together. Streets is saying, same at Gyökeres, the job they have to do is very hard because of the way the teams play against them and the amount of marking that gets done, etc, etc. Yes, guess with an excellent question. Why are Manchester United playing so many Monday games? She can't watch them because she's in baking school. She has to get up at crazy o'clock in the morning and she needs to sleep, and it's actually unacceptable. I agree. Sam is saying, it's mad what's happening at our club. Not sure what Ratcliffe saw that he likes. We aren't even making money. I'll be honest, I don't know if he can see straight, let alone know what he's looking at. Sam is my opinion at the moment. Guess has followed up her previous comment about all the Monday night games by saying, aren't you supposed to get better treatment if you're the biggest? Are Monday games a good thing? That's excellent. Excellent, my guess. I love it. Oh, Flossie. Flossie says, scrap that about Arsenal. Can't find anything to back it up. Talk Sport must be rage baiting again. That's okay, Flossie. That's okay. When people in professional environments say things, you're expected to be able to believe them. But also, things can happen. That's okay. We don't blame you. We don't blame you for TalkSport. I don't even know if we can blame TalkSport for TalkSport at this point. Sam is saying, I like Monday night football, rather that than Friday night football. I'll be fair. What have you sent, Huge? Where is it? Yeah, did I not read that one out loud? That you saw it, but you don't think that's true. Did you send something else that I've missed? If you have, send it again for me. Hold on, let me see. Did you send me something else? If there's something else and I've missed it, resend it to me, Huge, because I might have just missed it. It might be me. It might be my eyesight. These are not for decoration. Do you know what it is? Monday night football doesn't bother me because I'm not doing anything else on a Monday night. So I don't really care personally, but I do feel for people like Guess who have to get up super early the next day and maybe can watch it on a weekend, but it's more difficult in the midweek. I also feel for the people who have to travel to the away grounds on the Monday night and then have to get up for work the next day as well. So it's easy for me to say I don't care because I'm in my living room anyway. But I do feel sorry for the people who have to travel or that it does impact them. JT has an interesting question. What is it? What is your interesting question? JT says that makes sense. JT says, I have an interesting question. And then didn't ask us. JT, we can't deal with the suspense. JT, we're not coping. Yeah, you're going to have to tell us. Right, we have to wait for JT to type. I hope he types fast. Sorry, I forgot to actually ask the question. Are all of our teams really that shit as everyone thinks? Or is it the league and the available players at the moment? Has the overall talent of players reduced? Is the overall level of all the football and footballers reduced? Or is it the Premier League? Or is it all of our teams? Well, I did a video a little while ago. That might have actually been before you joined us, JT. I don't actually think that the quality of the Premier League has dropped off. I think it's incredibly competitive, and I think that's why it's harder. I think teams appear worse because the teams that traditionally make them look better when they play them are better. Shem is saying, no, my team is just shit. To be fair, in your specific case, Shem, I think you might be correct. Yes, Sam, it's an interesting question and has layers, like an onion, says Donkey. It is an interesting question. Like I said, I don't actually think the quality of the league has dropped off. I think the league is really competitive, and that's why some of the teams look worse. However, I had a thought recently, and my thought was, I do feel like the overall quality of footballers across the board, and I'm not talking about specific players, there are still some fantastic players, there's still some really, really good players. However, I do feel that overall, I feel like the quality of footballers has dropped off a little bit. But actually, maybe Streets has described how I feel better than I did. Streets says, competition has risen, individual talent and expression has drastically dropped. That is probably exactly how I feel. That's an excellent comment from Streets. That is exactly what I was trying to say, much better than I was saying it. So I'm going to read it again. Competition has risen, individual talent and expression has drastically dropped. I think that's kind of where I'm at. Great comment. JT said, that was my point as well. For ages, the league was kind of like the top 5 teams looked amazing against all the other teams, and the league has decided based on head-to-head games or fumbles. But it really does seem that all of our clubs and managers are doing bad decisions, but the number of managers being sacked must be a record. It's not. Because JT, you're not going to believe this. I did a video on this as well. You name it, I've done a video on it. So I actually did a video on this because I thought it must be a record as well. It's not. It's not even close. So let me see. You'll be able to go back and check it out. It'll be in the playlist anyway, but let me see if I can find it. I think it was 2021 was the worst. And I think before that it was 2010 or something crazy. So, the Premier League record for managers sacked in a season is 14. That was set in 22-23. I thought it was 21-22, but it was 22-23. The previous record was 10. So 14 is the most managers ever sacked in a single season. And then if we look at how many managers have been sacked in the Premier League this season. I just want a number, please, Google. Okay. So apparently... Oh no, sorry, that's not in the Premier League. That's not in the Premier League. That is just across the world. I was like, that's a really high numbers. In the season 25-26, I just want the number. Now we're having to go to transfer market because Google won't just tell me. Sorry guys, I know this is very exciting, you watching me look things up, but I'm very interested in this now because I did do it, but the video was a while ago, so it may have changed. So I just want to know how many. So 1, 2, 3, 4. He was a caretaker. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So according to this list, 9. Now I'm not including caretaker managers because they're not sacked. They're never supposed to stay. So as it stands, 9 managers, and this is according to Transfer Market, 9 managers have been sacked this season. The record is 14. I did do a video on that a little while ago, so I just actually wanted to see had that updated. So, not the record, but it feels like it should be because it feels like a lot. Sam says, has PSR contributed as well? Probably. Probably. Everything they bring in to make it better makes it worse. Huge has done the fact check. Thank you, Huge, for doing the work. Thank you very much. We'll need to put you on a commission. Huge says, Arsenal has a 41% win rate in April, 14 wins out of 34 games, not including today. 41%, but if you... No, yeah, okay. That has to be more than one. Okay, thanks for that. Thank you very much. No, I can't see a link, Huge. Are you putting a link in? Because I can't see one. I'm assuming there was a link in the comments where you said, can I see the link? No. Have you got X, Huge? If you have got X, my X is literally Spill the Tilu. It is exactly the same. See, can I find my profile? It's exactly the same. Let me... Okay. So you should now be able to see this. This is my X account, Spill the Tilu. It's exactly the same. But if you want to find me on there, and that way if you ever want to send me a link, you can just send it to me straight there, because no, I can't see it coming through in the chat. It might be visible for other people, but I'm not able to see it. It's not coming up. But what else are we saying? JT is going to play devil's advocate. JT does this a lot, so I enjoy it. JT says, to play the devil's advocate to Streets, the point Lou made about teams don't look good against better opposition, but the same could be applied to the players possibly. Intuitively, it feels that you're right though. But devil's advocate, we like that. Shem, Shem, honestly, virtual hug to Shem from everybody, because Shem has said no wins in 2026, 3 managers in 2026, and more injuries in 2026 with Kudus, and now in the bottom 3 for the first time since 2009 equals shit team. I don't think anybody can argue with Shem. I think Shem wins the fact race. Guys, we have been live for 1 hour and 10 minutes, and I am going to go and get my pizza. So I'm going to read through the last few comments here. This is a topic we can revisit, because like I said, some of these shows are going to be sort of free shows where we talk about whatever you want to talk about. Also, just want to shout out, big up to the members, big up to everybody. I love you all, you're all fantastic, but big up to the members, because the channel only got monetized less than 2 weeks ago. And we have 16 members, which is massive for a brand new channel that's only just been monetized. So I want to do something special for the members. I'm going to do a members video at some point next week. I have no idea what it's going to be on or when it's going to be, except for it's going to be next week. One of the days in the midweek, I'm probably going to do a stream, I would say maybe 3 o'clock or so. So it's not going to knock out any of the other streams for anyone, but I'm going to do an extra one just for the members, because I want to say thank you and big up to you guys just for being fantastic. So keep your eyeballs out for that. And I've been meaning to say it for a few days and I just kept forgetting. Sam is saying, I think refs and VAR are making our league worse as well. I watched the Bundesliga and the standard is so much better. Yous all know how I feel about the referees. JT says, it does feel like football at the moment is a bit all over the place, like a transition period where the old guard of players are leaving their prime but new ones haven't established themselves. I agree with that, JT. It feels like there's an overall handover period at the moment. I definitely agree with that. And Sam is saying yes, and obviously money. Money always makes things worse. JT says, I think that's why I think scouting will be a big deciding factor going forward for clubs, because it feels like the next big things player-wise haven't been discovered yet, really, besides a few. I can agree with that. I can definitely agree with that. And yes, Streets, top stream, top chat, top everything. We loved it. We did our match reaction to Liverpool. We talked about the match. We talked about everything. We did touch on Arsenal. We talked about everything. We talked about life. We talked about life together, people. Shev is saying it's the best cult ever. Flossie says it's been great. And yes, Guess is saying a special message from Teacup Castle. Yes. Sam is saying best YouTube channel, Lou. So congrats with that. I do like Goldbridge, but your discussions are more interactive. Thank you very much, Sam. I very much appreciate it. And JT is saying big up to everyone. The UFC is starting. It's time to go. Lads, you have left the poll 45%, 55%. Thank you for being here. Thank you for voting. Thank you for liking. Thank you for chatting, for getting involved. I have absolutely loved this stream. I've thoroughly, and yes, don't forget, big up to Kai there. JT is saying 10k sub goal for the 24-hour stream. Like and subscribe, chat. Guys, yous are all fantastic. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I will be back tomorrow at the normal time. We are the normal time. Let me just double check that I'm not. I tell you these things and then I come off the stream and I check them and I've lied. So I'm just going to check it while I'm still live so I know I'm telling the truth. Yes, tomorrow 12 o'clock I'll be back. 12 o'clock, normal time, I will be here. Hopefully I'll see you. Take care, enjoy your evening. Big up to everybody. You are all fantastic. Have a good one.